All right, welcome back, vintage gamers, to just a testing league. I've had some problems recently where I can't really focus on vintage leagues when I'm just trying to practice because I just am engrossed in other things on the other monitors, and it just ends up in both poor practice and poor gameplay. So I'm hoping that I do a test league here tonight, and I just do it on stream. That way, I can focus entirely 100% on the game. Even if, there's chat, I think focusing on chat in the game is better than, like, I don't know, being on Twitter or watching a YouTube video or whatever else I've been doing while trying to practice. So I'm just going to play a similar version of my current Esper PO list. I'm trying a different sideboard plan where I go extremely heavy against Bazaar. I think Bazaar represents a pretty large portion of the metagame, and it's a portion of the metagame where you have actual trouble. Like Tinker Mirrors, you're actually pretty good already. You're already pretty decent against like mono white and that kind of thing. So if we heavily focus our sideboard on taking the absolute best cards against things like Squee and Dredge, then we'll be in good shape. Obviously, Leyline doesn't come in against Agrovine, but Needle and Tabernacle are both still fine. So we have a really full sideboard here with 8 of the most powerful anti-Bazaar cards, 4 good cards for the aggro matchups, 1 Herco's Recall extra, 1 Sphinx, and 1 Mindbreak Trap. So basically, we're not playing basically any boarding for the Tinker Mirrors besides possibly the Mindbreak Trap. So we'll try that tonight. I'm just going to play a chill league here with stream, and should be fun. Let's try it. If you'd like to see your deck played on this channel, check out the Patreon link in the description below, where you can find all the information you need to submit a donation deck list. Let's battle. Okay, here we go, round 1. I've got a low power Force of Will hand that does have a Lavinia for turn 2. This is not like the kind of hand I'm excited to keep, but I do think it's probably a keep. Obviously, the Lavinia is a little late for Bazaar's best starts, but I still think it has value here. I don't know. There's like a possibility you're supposed to just mulligan this for a more aggressive hand, but I'm going to try keeping it. I think like the curve out is like, it's not great, but you're still going like Lavinia into Demonic Ancestral or Demonic Tinker, depending on if you draw Moxen. You still have Force of Will for opponent's most powerful things. So Chrome Mox. So that means either Mono White Initiative or oops, all spells. So if I force this Chrome Mox, they won't have white mana unless they have a land that has white mana. But if I don't force this Chrome Mox, they could have a Cavern of Souls. I think I would rather let the Chrome Mox happen. So the Lavinia is going to be a turn too late, and they do have Cavern of Souls, naming Cleric. Okay. The good news is they're using the Cavern of Souls on the White Plume Adventure and not like not the Seasoned Dungeoneer, which is much stronger. So the question is going to be now, do I actually even care about Lavinia at this point in the game? We might just want to look for a powerful Tinker draw as fast as possible. So let's see what we draw. We drew Merchant Scroll. So I am interested in maybe Time Walk into Merchant Ancestral and then Demonic Tinker or something like that with like 15 or 14 life to give. And then maybe we can force pitching Lavinia on their follow-up creature, as long as they don't have second Cavern of Souls. That seems fine. Pizza fries. What is that? Is that fries with pizza sauce on them? Or pizza stuff on them? What is this? Pizza fries. I am intrigued. Okay. I think this is going to be... I don't have a Moxen, so I kind of don't want to look for Demonic Tinker yet. I think I would rather just go Merchant Scroll Ancestral. I guess my opponent could have Mental Misstep, which would be pretty bad, but... Okay, we have a Black Lotus. So I think I'd still rather get all of my spells done now in case something really bad happens with, like, I don't know, Cavern Thalia or Cavern Archon. So I think what I'm going to do is Black Lotus, Demonic, Tinker, and play a top. Now I would rather not tinker away my top, but I will if I have to. And I have double force here, so as long as they don't have a second cavern, I think I'm in a pretty commanding position in this game. 15 life and a land drop to give for a citadel. I guess theoretically they could have a wasteland. Wasteland would be pretty bad for me. I would have to draw mana. Fries with cheeses, pepperoni, banana peppers, bell peppers, garlic, cilantro, and bacon. Yeah, that sounds great. Some loaded fries. My opponent has decided not to forge onto the White Plume Adventurer, which I find interesting. They should probably theorize that I have Demonic for Tinker, I would think. And I would probably want to pressure my life total, but they might be looking for a Cavern or an Archon off of their Lost Well. That makes sense to me. So that probably is fine. But I mean, I like the position we're currently in, so it really has to be Cavern plus Lockpiece here. Yeah, so they don't have a Cavern, so whatever they have doesn't matter. This almost also doesn't matter, but I think it's fine to just force. I think cracking or not cracking the Black Lotus is kind of negligible. And I would rather get my... I don't know. I'm not sure it's a huge deal either way. All right, so I have Tinker here. A Moxen is a great draw because it lets me keep my top, and then I'm pretty much deterministic. If I don't draw a Moxen, I still have Tinker without, which I still think is pretty good here. Yeah, this is fine. I have Snapcaster Mage with no mana, but I'll probably just put target on Time Walk. Now that I have a Mana Vault shown, all I need to do is hit a land and I can Time Walk and go again, so I can't imagine losing from here. I think I'm going to bite my tongue here, and I'm gonna have to force my Mox Emerald. So the amount of bricks in our deck were what? 2 forces and 1 Flusterstorm. I have to go to 6 to do this. Can I just pass? I don't really want to just pass, to be honest with you. I think I'm gonna force it. Okay. Yo, what's up? No props. I think that's... I'm not, like, thrilled with this, but I have this Time Walk turn in the bank. And even if I don't have enough life to say PO, I can still untap and PO. I go to 5 and I put what on top? What if I put a Yogg on top? Am I determined? I'm not really deterministic in any... I guess a Yogg on top. If I do Time Walk... I don't know if I want to do that. So I go to 5. I put a Yogg on top. I go to 4 off of my Mana Vault. I cast Yogg and I go... It's not even that good. Maybe the answer is just PO on top. There's no world in which I mental misstep this, right? I don't think so. Well, my brainstorm is no good here. I could go low power and just do ponder. I could do the highest power is PO, where I would float mana, go to 1, PO for 2, and then I still have mana to replay and time walk, and I won't have a tap mana vault, and I'll be at 1, but I will turn off my Force of Will. But I will have a new Snapcaster Mage, so I could do something like Snap Demonic. Snap Demonic Yogwill is like not great. I don't know, actually. Because I don't have a second black source right now for Snap Demonic Yogwill, actually, so that doesn't really vibe. I might just put Ponder on top, the 1 life, and try to set up the best possible play. Seems worse to me, though. I guess I have, like, Snap Ancestral as well, so... I'm, like, trying to think of a world where I have to pass the turn and want to force... I'm not actually sure here. Ponder... So we're going to draw 1 card that we don't want on top, which is the Misty, and then probably play the Soul Ring, and then we can't play the Narset. But that lets us untap with... Doesn't let us untap with anything, actually. It just ends up letting us untap with a Narset. So is that even good? Doesn't even look good. Maybe I should have just gone PO. So I would have an untapped Mana Vault. I would go tap Mana Vault, play Narset. If I hit PO, it's pretty good from there. Maybe that's actually fine. Should be interesting. I'm not 100% sure I played this optimally, to be honest with you. I would probably say it's likely I played this wrong, but I'm not really sure at the moment where I went wrong. But, I mean, I think my chances are still pretty good from this spot. Though I don't have another time walk, so I have to have things go pretty well. Blue, Narset. Yeah, I'm not sure. It's definitely possible I'm supposed to let the not force the green mocks. That's definitely probably a point that I could have changed. I could definitely see that being wrong. So I was unable to find a PO, but I found a brainstorm and an opal. Probably still just taking this brainstorm. And there's my PO. Okay, so let's activate and brainstorm. Because I don't have the life to play PO anymore. I don't have any blue Moxen, but I hit enough Moxen here, so I think everything's fine. This should be good enough. I'm not going to play my land drop because I want to hit Tolarian. I will pick up everything, though. So I lose 2 draws to the Brainstorm, but I still am drawing 4 fresh ones. And I have a land drop to give. I have a PO on top and an opal on a top. Okay, this is good enough. Okay. So now we're to... Oh, I did not mean to play that. Oh, well. Okay. We're going to win from here, though. We have another PO for 6 or 7 or something like that, and then we'll pull through. We don't have a time walk, so to win on this turn, we would have to get 10 permanents and activate Citadel and Yogwill. I'm wondering if... I think the Brainstorm was right. I drew them off of PO, I believe, so I could not have played them off the top. I had to brainstorm 2 cards that were dead back to my top. Oh, I drew them off brainstorm? I thought I drew them off PO. I might have made a mistake. If I drew them off of brainstorm, then I should have put them on top and played them. You are 100% correct. Okay, so playing against Mono White Initiative. Yeah, I thought I drew them off PO, but if I drew them off of Brainstorm, then you're right. We can put both the Moxen on top and play them. Then that's definitely correct, because then we would draw 2 fresh cards, which is much, much better. Okay, so four swords are behind. That's like a really big mistake in a kind of a crucial position, actually, which is a little not great. Okay, so Hercules is bad here. I don't typically really want to play Flusterstorm against Mono White. I don't really want to play Mental Misstep against Mono White, so that's an easy 4 out for 4 removal spells. Do I want to have access to a Sphinx? I think so. Probably don't need access to Probe. Then do I want Needle on Wasteland? Not really. Do I want Trap on the draw? I think I do want Trap on the draw. And then I would I take out Narset before? I would take out Lavinia on the draw. She's so bad. So would I want any of these cards instead of like a Night's Whisper or a Narset? Doesn't seem necessary. Let's try that. This hand is quite bad against turn 1 Hate Piece, but I don't think I would ever put it back. Even if it's Lavinia, or even if it's Thalia, it's not too bad. It's probably just a keep. Oh, Chancellor of the Annex. It's kind of an annoying one, but at least I didn't keep like a hand relying on Force of Will. Caracas? And what? You have a Mox? Chalice on 0 would be insane. I guess I would throw away the Chancellor, but... yeah, Chalice on 0. Okay. I'm only playing 1 answer to Chalice on 0 in my deck, which is Teferi. So we'll throw this into the Chalice / the other thing, and then I am just going to wait, probably fetch a basic and Ancestral. Or I'll fetch not a basic. Worse. Anathalia. And a Null Rod. Okay. That's interesting. So my opponent has a ton of hate pieces, but I have an Ancestral. Yeah, I would say Hercules is too narrow. Okay, that's pretty good. And then... am I going to cast Night's Whisper and, like, crazy overdraw? I do need mana is the problem, so I think the answer is yes. How much am I going to overdraw? I'm going to overdraw by 2, but I have a dead Ruby. I want to be able to play a Teferi next turn, I think. And maybe draw like a Force. Yeah, I'm going to cast Night's Whisper here. Okay, I did not draw any of those magic cards. So I will pitch Pio and Ruby. Let's see what happens here. If I get like Wasteland stripped, I guess we lose. It's really hard for my opponent to Wasteland strip considering I've drawn 6 or 5 additional cards this game. Oh, they don't have a 3rd land, so they're not going to do either. Interesting. Maybe I'm supposed to hold Mox for a Tinker. Ooh, I did not draw anything, huh? Man. The fact that I drew no more lands here is very awkward. I don't think I want to cycle a dress down. I think maybe we just play out a top. Maybe I'm supposed to cycle dress down here because I do need lands. Very interesting game. All right, my opponent did hit the Wasteland off the top, and they're gonna play Archon, I assume. Oh, what? Okay. I kind of think they're just supposed to strip mine Wasteland with me missing a land drop, but kind of awkward. This game is still really tough. Obviously, Chalice Null Rod combination. I did have a Fragmentize in my board until quite recently for kind of this exact situation, but I decided I didn't want it. Maybe I need to rethink that. We'll have to reevaluate that at the end of the stream. I definitely was interested in maybe having Fragmentize in my sideboard for Null Rod decks. I think Null Rod is very, very good right now. So they chose Tinker, which makes sense to me. I just want to hit a land. I hit Black Lotus. I don't have that many lands in my deck, to be fair. I only have 13. I don't have the plains in this version either, so I have one less land than normal. I'm pretty sure I'm just going to cycle a dress down to try to find a land here. It's doomed. All right, so now my opponent should definitely strip and wasteland me and put me out of the game. I guess I theoretically at that point could draw fetch land, swords this, and we're back at parity, but I think they just are going to go for initiative. I hate all of these lines. I guess it's better once you have the plains, but I don't know. I missed land drops for 2 turns. I think it just makes perfect sense for them to put me out of my misery, right? I don't know. I think I'm still losing this game no matter what line my opponent chooses, but the strip mine is particularly brutal. Even if I draw a fetch land this turn, is that even enough to do anything? I drew the Tundra, so what can I really do with the Tundra here? I have Snap Ancestral. I have Swords the White Plume. I have Teferi. I could Teferi the Chalice and then play my Moxen, but that doesn't do anything because there's also a Null Rod. I can't Tinker because it costs 5. If my opponent didn't have a pile of wastelands, then I could like end step dress down and go for a Tinker Sphinx and hope that was good enough. I don't think that would be good enough, but that's like my kind of my line here, considering my opponent has too many hateful pieces. I don't know. I think the answer is play my Tundra, pass, sword something, and go for a dress down. Especially seeing as they have Forge. So if they don't wasteland me with the Forge on the stack, I can Swords whatever they're going to Forge. I assume they're forging onto this, though. So it would make more sense for me to Swords this, so I could cast my Tinker. It's very tough. It's very, very tough. Does it make sense to just Swords this now? I don't actually think it even makes sense. Like, I don't think their life total matters. Like, if they play an Archon, I need to Swords that, probably. Well, maybe not, depending on dress down. Okay, so now they're going to hit me with the strips. Still pretty bad. I could technically snap Ancestral here. Oh, they drew a second Wasteland? I think I have to snap Ancestral. The second Wasteland is just crazy. So I'm hoping my Ancestral draws me fetches so that I can sword something. That might not be good enough considering I'm taking a bunch here. This is a tough game. I do feel like if we drew a little better, though, we were super in it because our opponent didn't wasteland us for some reason until they had 3 wastelands. All right. So they kept in Solitude. That's good to know. That saves them 3 damage, I guess. I'm not really keen on the way my opponent is playing this, but I don't know if it matters. All right, how good is this Ancestral? It's the second one. Okay. I mean, I don't have very many lands in my deck, but I would have liked to draw more than the number of lands that I did draw. So I'm actually dead no matter what here because of Trap, right? Even if I draw Fetch and Swords, I still die to Trap. All right, interesting. Okay, rough game for sure. Rough game. Definitely makes me think about Fragmentize. So I'm gonna board the Lavinia back in on the play, and I'm probably gonna just take the Sphinx out. I really just don't want to play Sphinx if they're playing Solitude still, and we're on the play. Or maybe I should just take the Mindbreak Trap out on the play. That might be better. Let me get my... None of those were fetches, right? Or one was a fetch? I would still have had to fetch Underground Sea to play Night's Whisper. I don't really want to have Night's Whisper in my deck at this point, but I kind of took out a lot of my sideboarding options, so I think it probably has to stay. I definitely don't know. I don't think that game would have helped if I had a Plains, but... Okay, let's try again. This one has almost turn 1 Tinker, but not turn 1 Tinker and no Citadel anyways. So just put this back. This one has 1 Moxen away from a good PO hand. Sad. Super sad. Super, super sad. I don't even think it's keepable. And mulligan again. All right, now we're really looking for a London Mulligan Tinker hand. Man, these Mox Opal hands are bad. Holy hell. Can I keep this 5-card hand? I don't think so. So if I keep this hand in bottom Opal Yogwill and I lead on Ponder, what is that doing for me? They're on a Mold of 5 as well. If my Ponder hits his Force or something. There are 4-card hands that are better than this, but there are not that many 4-card hands that are better than this. Like any combination of like multiple Mox and Tinker is better, but like I can't, there's like very few combinations that actually like PO. You'd have to have a Mana Crypt. I mean, if we ponder into like Ancestral or something, I don't know, trying to recoup. It's not good. Yeah, maybe we just high roll. I don't know. My opponent's also on 5. Let's try falling to 4. Somehow this is worse, I think. I think I would have kept the 5, but it's okay. I've been doing a lot of mulliganing and dying recently. All right, this force is gonna go. This is gonna go. This is gonna go. This is not a hand. My opponent has a Chancellor. Okay. All right. I'm not gonna throw something into the Chancellor. I'm just gonna pay for it on the next turn. Well, if it was a vintage classic, I would have London mulled into Island, Sapphire, Mana Crypt, Tinker. Is this gonna be a Null Rod? Okay, so I assume this is turn 2 Dungeoneer. God, which color am I fetching here? It's probably black. I don't know, man. Oh boy. See what happens. Things have just not been going my way. Okay, Chrome Box. So it can really be any white card now, because it's going to put Chancellor underneath it. God, imagine if they have, like, Archon plus Wasteland. My opponent's mulligan was so much better than mine. I feel cheated. Holy shit. Okay. It's so doomed. So I think we draw for turn, and then we go for look for land. Maybe I should have looked. Oh, I don't even have a land in my top cards. Yeah, it's super doomed. Would I have been better off if I had kept my initial hand? I think so. Well, not my initial hand, but my 5-card hand. My 5-card hand looks like it was probably better. I'm super dead here. Especially if they have a second creature. Mostly if they have, like, any Magic the Gathering card. I can't win anymore, man. It's just doomed. All right, they didn't have a follow-up. Maybe that means they have a Solitude in their deck still, and they have a Solitude in hand that they can actually hardcast. All right, this needs to find a fetch land or a white source on the 3rd unknown card. If it doesn't find it, we're dead. Okay, we're dead. All right, well, that's a shit way to go, but mulligan to death again. I don't know, man. All right, well, let's keep going. Let's keep trying. Round 2 now versus probably Oath, which is a little unfortunate because I really like this hand versus not Oath, but I'm going to keep this hand anyways. I think turn 1 top Flusterstorm spinning is good, and then turn 2 Mentor with Flusterstorm backup is pretty reasonable against a large variety of decks in the format. It won't be great against Oath, unfortunately, which is what I think my opponent is probably playing, but... so what else am I looking for here? Force of Will, Mox Opal. Yeah, that's probably a fine set of cards to leave on top. I don't know if we want to draw Mox Opal per se. I'm not even sure we want to draw Force of Will, depending on how this goes. Is this a Vamp? It's like a little frustrating. I wonder if we're supposed to fluster this. So if they're vamping for like Forbidden Orchard and playing an Oath, and we have to draw into our force and force it and hope our force resolves. kind of ruins our mentor plan, but I guess it's like really bad to fluster a vamp, but I think I'm just going to. I just think this has so many ways of going badly. They're going to be pretty happy, I think, if I fluster their vamp, but I don't really like the alternatives, to be honest with you. This way we could actually maybe draw with our top in our upkeep and then play mentor and play top or something. I don't know. It's going to be tough. It really depends on what deck they are. I mean, Underground Sea Vampiric does not indicate Oath. I just know my opponent has been playing a lot of Atraxa Oath. They could still totally be Tinker or Doomsday, which case Flusterstorm would have maybe been better to hold if they went for something like Ancestral or Dark Ritual Doomsday. Preordain probably leans towards the Doomsday or Oath still. Okay, so maybe Esper Tinker? Esper Pio or something? Okay, my mentor gets better at this point, which is nice. Doesn't mean it's gonna resolve, unfortunately, but does it matter? Yeah, I think I'm gonna just draw with this top in my upkeep here, and then I still drew an opal. That's pretty funny. Don't have a fluster anymore, unfortunately. Yeah. All right, so we saw Force into Fairy went away. And the good news is that we still have actually 6 mana Yogwill here, so we could really just go Yogwill as Snapcaster for my my mentor, if that's something we're interested in doing. We also just have all the power on the top of our library, so yeah, we're gonna do that instead. We'll probably Ancestral off of our Tundra, and then we could even go like Demonic Lotus Yogwill, or we could just PO. Obviously, my opponent is holding up Negation and Flusterstorm here, but I don't think it's worth waiting at all. My opponent is still going to hold those up on the next turn anyways. And if they counter my Ancestral with anything other than a Negation, then we could just go Yogwill Ancestral again if we really want to. But if they negate it, I guess it's kind of bad. I guess I will have to. They do have negate. Wow, that is like the most brutal. So if we were to draw into the demonic and then demonic with 1 colorless, 1 C, and get Lotus, and then we have Crack Lotus for black, which is 1 black left over. Yogwill, Lotus, Mentor with Flusterstorm, or we have Demonic after that. So then we would have, sorry, I probably need to write this one down. So we have tap top, 1 colorless, 1 UC, cast Demonic for Lotus. We Lotus, and we have 1 black, 1 UC, and a Lotus after we Yogg, and then we can fetch. So we have 2 lands, a black, and a Lotus, and a Demonic in our yard. We can just Demonic for Tinker. So, or we could just tap and play a land and Demonic for Tinker, which is worse, I would probably think. It might be better, actually, because we have Yogwill. So maybe we just go Tinker with a no land drop to give, hitting the Opal, and then if it backfires, we can just Yogwill everything again. So we should maybe just do that. Let's just do Tinker, and then land Tinker my Opal. They have to have a third. They have Force blue card? So my opponent had Force, Flusterstorm. Okay. I mean, this is still fine. Like, they have a Saga, so they think they're okay, but we have a restricted card. And then we can go Yogwill, and we can Tinker anyways, I think. 1, 2. Yeah, we might have to give our land drop to do it, but... We have Yogwill, Opal. We have to use our land drop, but... Because the Opal's not turned on anymore. We could brick here and then die to the constructs, to be honest. Is there any better demonic line? If we were demonic for 2 mana... I don't think demonicking for Lotus helps us very much. No, I can't do that because I need a black mana. So you can't demonic for Lotus. Or, sorry, you can't keep your fetch. But I could demonic for Lotus here, and then I could demonic for Ancestral. I could demonic for... I don't think there's any really strong choices. I think I'm just going to Tinker and hope it works out. Yeah. Think I'm supposed to keep Mana Crypt still. And yeah, no, that's fair. No, I can't get Ancestral. So my opponent is playing around Needle, which is fine. I forgot that this construct is a 1/1, so that gives us some leeway. My opponent playing around Needle makes them lose their construct token, which is kind of funny. Those are really good. Okay. I might not have enough life here. Maybe I should have sacked the Mana Crypt. Lost another flip down to 6. Hit a fetch land. I don't have any more fetchables. Is it worth more to play a land off the top of my library and have a shuffle? Probably. I also don't have a mentor. Can I really win this game? It's gonna be really hard. It's gonna be really, really hard to win this game. I don't actually think I have the cards necessary. Come on. Necessary to win this game anymore. It's doomed, man. It's super doomed. Holy how can these draws be worse? Okay. Is my deck terrible? Am I horrible or is my deck horrible? Or both? What is happening? I'm only running 13 lands. Yeah. It's doomed. Yo, what's up, PT Bench and crew? Hope you had a good stream. We're currently getting our butt whooped in the format that I'm supposed to be good at. It's a fun time. So... yeah, but there's no gas that does anything. I don't have a mentor in my deck anymore. Things are bad. Things are very bad. Do I go to 1 to cast Merchant Scroll? I have to save this dress down for my opponent's turn to kill all their Saga tokens? I think the answer is I go to 1 and cast this Merchant Scroll. What does that get me? It gets me a PO, but I don't have any Moxen still. I don't know. Legacy Initiative variants. That's cool. I'm gonna go to 1 and Merchant Scroll, I guess. Means I can't force back up my dress down, but no, I used my Yogwill. We don't have Yogwill anymore either. It's like Lavinia Snapcaster beatdowns and a Citadel activation. I do think I'm still supposed to take PO. And yeah, but I don't know if I want to give them mana. I mean, of course I can dress down end of turn, but I think I'm supposed to like progress. I think I'm still going to take this PO because there's a really decent chance I hit all Moxen, right? Or there just isn't a really decent chance I hit all Moxen. Okay. Maybe I am supposed... Maybe I will just end step dress down here after they activate. Maybe that's the best way through this. The problem here now is I don't have Force of Will up, though. I don't believe we have enough fodder, but I could be wrong. Okay. The problem is I don't have force anymore, though. So if they have like a powerful play, then, you know, we're screwed. But we do have like, if this goes off, I mean, they get a top off of this, right? Which has got to be very good for them. But we'll have hard cast force at some point. It's just going to be really hard because we have to keep our snapcast. Oh, they have just hit Volky? Are you kidding? Okay. I guess I should not have gone for Merchant Scroll. If I had just played end of turn, dress down, drawn the Merchant Scroll, then I could have force for this turn. I really didn't think they would have the ability to win the game immediately. But like, it's such a bad top deck for them to have. There's so many worse top decks than that, but that's really good. Fuck, man. Everything I do just gets unbelievably punished. Okay. What do I want to do against this deck? We're basically already in a pretty, I think, favorable position in the matchup because we don't have sagas in our deck, whereas they do have sagas in their deck. So they have a bunch of cards that don't do anything. We have pure gasoline. But I guess we could bring in Mindbreak Trap over Island is probably fine. I don't know. You're already like pre-boarded for this kind of matchup, so. Okay, this hand is fine. But yeah. I guess I could, yeah, I think the answer is just I don't cast Merchant Scroll. I end of turn dress down to draw the Merchant Scroll so I can hold up Force of Will in case they draw, you know, like they have to draw kind of like exactly Tinker, Demonic or something like that on that turn, which they did. So, but there's no reason to risk it when I have access to Force of Will, so kind of just a mistake on my part. We obviously have access here to Mystical Tinker, but we have all of these other things happening, so I don't think it makes sense to do that yet. If we can get Teferi in play before we Tinker, we'll... I was going to say... all right, now what do we do? All right, I'm going to Time Walk. And then I'm going to Mystical for Ancestral, maybe. If I Mystical for Ancestral, that's 2 Storm. If they cast Flusterstorm, I can pay for it with my Mana Vault, I guess. Sure. Everything that can go wrong is going wrong. That is for sure happening. They could obviously have a negation here. That's really good. That's really good. I really like these draws. If they want to Flusterstorm my Knight's Whisper, I don't think I care. Mox Opal lets me cast Citadel. But I think it's a prudent use of my black mana to cast this on this turn. They are gonna Flusterstorm it. Okay. They aren't going to Flusterstorm it. Okay. I mean, my opponent's probably just gonna untap and tinker for Citadel, and I don't have a force, and we're gonna lose. But you know, what meta do I expect in the showcase? I expect a lot of Vine decks. I expect a lot of initiative decks between mono white and blue white Tinker initiative. I expect a lot of Jeskai. I expect that's kind of the big meta shares. I expect mostly Bazaar and initiative. And so I built this PO deck with the idea that I should be pretty good against initiative already, and then I have a nice sideboard for Bazaar, but I can't seem to do anything. I just get bullied over and over again today. And forever, actually. The last few months have been rough. They didn't draw a land drop. Interesting. No, but I think a Jeskai will still be a large enough meta share. Well, Jeskai has been the third largest deck in the format for a couple months now, like very quietly. It's like something that grinders really enjoy too. Okay, so I can go lead on Teferi and then play Pio if I want. I could have, yeah, I think that makes the most sense. I mean, this is going to get forced. Almost 100% going to get forced. And at that point, I'm just going to pass. There will be Jewel. Jewel will be a good meta share too. Jewel is like the very like PO thing to do now. It's a very powerful all-in combo deck kind of thing, you know? All right. Vault Pass 3 mana. So if I were to end step a PO here, does that put me in a place that I like? I don't think so. I just want to draw, I don't know, second PO. See if this also draws a force. All right, well, now we're in the pass turn, holding open, dress down Hercules, PO. And then if they do nothing, I guess, and if they do nothing, we end step PO. If it gets countered, that's fine. We untap and we PO again. Or we could Hercules ourselves. That technically works as well. We just have to kind of fade another turn of not getting murdered by Tinker or or mostly Tinker. Or like Key, like natural Key. We can't really beat anything that our opponent does. It's very likely my opponent has a Fluster at this point as well. Is this their own Teferi? No, they drew Tinker. Oh, they drew Prismatic Ending. Interesting. I'm going to definitely go for the PO. I don't think it'll work, but I'm definitely going to go for it. It's pretty high value. I assume this is getting flustered, would be my assumption, or negated, one of the two. Or Spell Pierced, sure. Okay, I got a Monk, you got an Exiled Mentor. They have 1 mana, 3 cards, a top, and a Time Vault. And we don't have access to... If we draw black mana, do we still have access to Citadel? I think we do. If we draw an Opal, we can go Opal, Recall, Citadel. So that's nice. We don't have any more black lands, but we do have an Opal. Or 3 Opals, I should say. Your read is they have nothing. Could be. It's not unreasonable. Mox is our best draw for sure. Stop drawing POs. So I think what I'm going to do is Hercules, myself, Mox, PO. This saves me a blue mana. PO for 2. I'm going to do that. I'm going to Hercules, target myself. I need to do something powerful. Not that I consider this to be super powerful, but... And then I'm going to go Mox, Mana Vault, PO for 2. See what happens from there. I should just... Okay, that got negated, pitching Fluster. So they had Fluster, like I said. So they just had all counters. All right, I mean, take 5. I assume my opponent's going to untap and kill me with Vault Key again, but... I mean, they know my whole hand, so... Well, they don't know this card technically, but they have Tinker. Oh, we just die by them having absolutely anything. My opponent's hand was just like much more powerful than ours, right? I guess maybe not. We both cast Time Walk Ancestral in this game. It felt like I was behind this whole game. I mean, we did have a Citadel in hand the whole game. We were looking at, I guess, Tinkering was probably not an achievable goal considering the amount of counter magic my opponent has. It feels like we've been behind. I mean, Tolarian Academy means they've always been ahead on mana, even if we have a Mana Vault, probably. What are they thinking about? It feels like they have Tinker in their hand. Is this Teferi, maybe? Oh, Mentor of their own. That is particularly interesting. Okay. Again, I still think our best draw is just like Opal. Can I... When I want to draw Opal, I never draw Opal. And when I don't want to draw Opal, I draw 1,000 Opals. I assume this is going to get like another Thrusterstorm. Like their hand was like Negation, Flusterstorm, Flusterstorm, Pierce. It was not. Okay, so now where do we go? Do we have enough to Tinker? We have enough to Citadel. So that's good. We might win this game. You don't want to be all counter. Oh, I don't have any more Underground Seas. Uh-oh. In that case... I don't want to rush down because I want to hold force, so I'm just going to pop this and attack. So I have a force, which is nice, because my opponent didn't have a Fluster. They should activate this top in their upkeep so that they can play top again with their Mentor. They didn't. And now they have Karn. I have force for Karn. They can spin and find Fluster, but I should be able to pay. Okay. We would go to 10. They definitely should have, I think they should have drawn with their top in their upkeep. And then replayed top, got a Monk Trigger. Doesn't cost them any mana because of Tolarian Academy. Seems like a missed opportunity. So if my opponent doesn't find... what did they find? They've already used Time Walk. They're trying to get an extra damage in. So I have 9 life. a Citadel and 1 Monk. Oh. What about just vamping? Or what about just demonicing for Yogwill? I just have so little Mox mana. No, because now my opponent can die to a Bolas's Citadel activation. But maybe. We have Lotus. We can go Citadel. I'm trying to figure out if there's a better line with Demonic. We could go Demonic, Yogwill, but I actually don't have a replay of Demonic for Lotus, so I would have to go like Ancestral Time Walks and Pios, which is probably good enough. Like, if I theoretically go... If I do my Demonic line here, where if I can get a Teferi and a Time Walk, I can definitely... that probably doesn't do it. Well, we have to be careful of our life total, Zajad, but it's definitely something we can consider. I'm just considering if there's any... I'm trying to figure out if there's any, like, deterministic lines that don't involve Citadel. But we're pretty low on mana after, so I kind of think we're just going to go with Demonic, Lotus, Citadel. Narset down to 6. Should still be fine, as this puts me to 5 and Yogwill's to 2. That's a miss. That's a Mana Crypt. That's a Dress Down. Those are all pretty much misses. Oh, wait. Yeah, I go to 1, right? I go to 4, and then I Yogwill, I go to 1. So I have to make sure I get rid of... This still be fine still, though. Vamp. Yogwill. Yogwill. Where are my Moxen? Black Lotus. Mana Crypt. I have POs and Ancestrals and Time Walks, so nothing should really matter here. I don't think I have anything that gets rid of 2 Monk tokens, but I mean, PO on its own should just be enough here. I think I can cast that before anything, really. I guess I could cast Ancestral before anything as well. Because I have a Lotus. Probably can just get a Citadel activation at this point. Okay, yeah, we're good. Monk trigger being annoying. Oops. I had 2 opals. Oops. All right. Oh, why do I feel like these games have been so difficult? It really feels like I've had to use a lot of brain cells. Let's just blame the alcohol. It's fine. Everything is fine. Like, these have been very non-deterministic citadels. I've had to do some serious work. This hand unfortunately doesn't have an action spell that works with this. Made a mudslide. It was snowing out, but I was like, I need alcohol. So I went to the store and I bought the biggest bottle of Bailey's and Kahlua I've ever seen in my life. I bought the big, I'm an alcoholic bottle. Like, this is the best value kind of bottle. Okay, this looks reasonable. I think this is a Narset to the bottom line. Not 100% sure that's true, though. My goal in this game is looking to be like turn 1 Lavinia and then Demonic for Tinker kind of thing. Opponent has a lot of fast mana here. I'm actually, if I draw a land, I have Demonic Tinker on the next turn here. This is just fine. I mean, I'm going to get beat down by some big constructs, but I'm not sure I'm too worried about that. They also don't have blue mana for Fluster, and I have Force backup. So Fetch Land is probably winning. Nice. Okay, so Mana Vault, Demonic, Tinker, 19 life minus like 6 or something. I have 5 minutes. Lotus, Ancestral. That's fine. I can just do top. Should just be deterministic with top. All right, this should be pretty easy. This is like a much easier Tinker kill than the last one. Yeah. I think I'm pretty easy to get this in 4 minutes. I'm not worried at all. Very straightforward. Draw to Mentor, Mystic Time Walk. Very, very easy. Okay, that felt better. I do think that you should be favored as PO in the Esper Tinker matchup, so that was pretty close, though. Okay, here we go. Round 3 of our Vintage League. We're up against the Zoomer, and they are usually playing Squee, or typically known as Countervine, which is quite a hard matchup for PO, so this should be pretty interesting. Our hand doesn't actually function here, so we're going to mulligan this. Even though we have a force and we have a bunch of counter magic, we don't have any way to progress the game forward, and our opponent is playing a Bazaar of Baghdad deck that demands that we press the game forward. This, on the other hand, presses the game forward in a very powerful way, and I'll be keeping it. So my opponent's deck should be, we don't know for sure, it's going to be a Bazaar of Baghdad deck, which means they have Serum Powders and they mulligan to Bazaar of Baghdad. And what their deck is, it's kind of like a tempo deck in Legacy. It's kind of like a blue-red Delver deck, except it costs 0 mana. So they use their Bazaar of Baghdad to play 0 mana Hollow Ones and Root Wallas. And then they back it up with a bunch of free pitch spells: Force of Will, Force of Negation, Mind Break Trap, Force of Vigor, that kind of thing. They recoup their card disadvantage from Bazaar of Baghdad using Squee and Master of Death. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bottom this Mox Opal, and then I'm going to go Tundra, Pearl, Time Walk, and I'm going to try to draw a mana-producing land or Moxen, and then I'm going to try to Tinker with Force Backup on turn 1, or turn 2, I guess, depending on how you view turns. I did not draw the Moxen, and I also did not draw a castable spell, so we have to pass the turn back. It's unfortunate. but it is what it is. This is definitely a hand I'm always keeping. So, ooh, that is not squee. So I gave everybody an entire monologue about my opponent's deck, and they're actually just playing Workshop Aggro. I really, really hope we do not get Wastelanded, because I'm not countering this. Okay, that's good. That wasn't a Wasteland. Thorn. I will snap counter a Thorn. Okay, so again, we're on the same thing as last turn, where we need to draw a mana-producing thing to tinker, and we'll probably win. That is not a mana-producing thing. Okay, unfortunate. All right, so now we're back at the mercy of our opponent, who has basically free reign to murder us heavily. They chose Esper Saga and Foundry Inspector, both of those we don't care about. I know I said something that produces mana. This doesn't produce mana right now. If they play a 3-ball or a lodestone or a sphere, we'll probably just lose the game on the spot. If they play any more of these creatures that attack, we're fine. Ballista is fine. And Fleet Wheel is like a little bad because we're going to take 10 this turn and go to 9. But this is still technically a winnable game. All we need to do is hit that mana. All right, we died. All right, well, I don't have the luck in me this time. All right, so Aggro Shops. So a little bit of a different matchup. Against Aggro Shops, I do like to have some amount of removal and, of course, Hurkyl's Recall. And I like to have Sphinx. I have definitely shaved on Hurkyl's Recall. Sometimes I have as many as 4. Currently, I don't. I'm going to take out Flusterstorm as there's no targets, Misstep as there's very few targets, Probe as there's typically taxing me. Narset is usually too much mana. And Night's Whisper is not at its best here. So we're going to bring in some removal and go again. The plan is not to use the removal in game 2 on the play. We're going to try to combo kill them on turn 1 when they have no defense for it. My opponent's deck does not play blue cards, so it does not have Force of Will. The only possible turn 1 interaction they can have is Mindbreak Trap. So we're looking for a turn 1 kill. This is pretty damn close. So we're going to keep it. We're going to play out our things. And then we're going to Time Walk. And we're going to hope to draw a mana-producing thing to cast PO. I'm going to play Opal last because I think that's the worst card to get trapped here. And then if we don't draw the mana-producing thing, we can still play Teferi because we have On-Color Moxen. So it's not the end of the world. We did not draw the mana-producing thing. Do we want to play Teferi or do we want to play Monastery Mentor? I think the answer is Teferi. I'm not even sure if you're supposed to minus or plus on this Teferi either. Teferi Plus is really, really bad against Revoker, but it's really good against most other things. We can obviously minus and draw and get a blue mana back, but the problem is the blue mana back doesn't actually allow us to play anything. We don't have the ability to play a Mentor with any of our normal draws. There are some draws that get us there. Aggro Shops doesn't play Revoker. That's factually inaccurate. That is not the case. That is wrong. They play both Revoker and Patrick Automaton. Patrick Automaton took the Ravager slot. You are a bit mistaken. I think the answer is going to be Teferi Plus. And I think if they are going to play a Revoker this turn, I think we're happy. Academy off the top. Andy said, Andy, you are living in a world which I was in, you know, a couple years ago. I haven't been that lucky. I ran really hot for like a year. Okay, this actually works out. So I can bounce the Sphere of Resistance. And then I can play my mana, and I can go replay Opal, lose the Opal, cast PO, draw 4. I drew the Tolarian Academy. Okay, maybe you're right, Andy. And Andy knows a thing or two about me being lucky, so. Shit. Okay. From here, which is the best way forward. I have 6 mana right now. I have Merchant Ancestral, leaving me with 3 mana. Teferi, leaving me with 4 mana. The answer might be Teferi's... I kind of want to be able to Teferi bounce a sphere again if we have to. So the answer might just be Tolarian Academy. I mean, I can always Merchant. I have a Force in my hand. I have a lot of options here that all probably lead to wins. I'm just trying to figure out which one is the best one. We also have the option of just going Mentor to Fairy Plus. We also have the option of Mentor to Fairy, bounce my Opal and Pio, which is like really sick. So I kind of think I like that line actually. So if I do that and I do Mentor... No, I don't get a PO this exact turn. It's still probably the best play, considering I already have a Force of Will, so there's no real need to Merchant Scroll. Even if I get Wastelanded, I have PO on the next turn. So I think this is just fine. I'm probably fretting over something that doesn't matter too much. I wonder, again, if I'm supposed to even... I think I can just plus again. Go to plus again. This looks insane. Sorry, this looks really good. I mean, this is exactly what you want to do on the play against Aggro Shops as the PO player. We actually have a hard castable Sphinx of the Steelwind. 1, 2, 3. Not yet, but I mean, technically we do have enough mana for it next turn if we were to bounce a mana. Okay, Esper Saga, sure. Sure, I don't care. I don't know. All these things win. I am just going to... I'd rather just not use my mana yet, so I don't have to use my Academy yet, and then just PO first, and then nothing matters. Everything you do here is going to win you the game. Okay. My opponent also agrees. Everything would win the game. Would Teferi be playable if it didn't silence the opponent? I don't really think so. I think the silence is a very large part of it. I don't think it needs like the +1. It would still be good without the +1. If the +1 did +1 nothing, it would still be good. Okay, so now we're on the draw. Things are slightly different. I don't really like Lavinia on the draw here, but I don't really like Night's Whisper or any of these other cards either. But I'll take in Mindbreak Trap. It gives me a little extra protection against their high rolls. Let's try this. It's this is historically one of PO's absolute best matchups. And it's kind of one of the reasons that PO is not at its best right now is there is no Aggro Shops as a large meta percentage. Aggro Shops is a pretty small meta percentage. It actually had a really good weekend last weekend. But not great. This is a great hand, obviously. We get to force their Sphere, untap, and Tinker, so. Why do I have only one alt except for Force? Why do I have only like one ofs? So a lot of these cards are restricted in Vintage. Restricted doesn't use a ban list. It uses a restriction list. So, like all of the, like most of these cards that are not one ofs are restricted. So I can only play one copy. And then the ones that aren't restricted, I mean, sometimes, I mean, I'm a deck with a bunch of tutors, so I can just find the ones that are good for me. So Leyline of Sanctity stops me from hurgling my opponent, but that's not going to really matter here. My opponent is just going to die to turn 1 Tinker. My opponent is learning firsthand here why Aggro Shops fell out. So yeah, we just don't even use our land drop. We tinker off our Opal. We get a Bolus of Citadel, and our opponent loses. And if they have 2 Mindbreak Traps... I'm always playing into Mindbreak Trap here. So. Especially with Force Backup. If I didn't have Force Backup... Okay, I see you. That's pretty sick. I don't know how many more mind break traps than two. They probably only play two in the sideboard. But it's fine. My opponent only has a Patchwork Automaton. And we do have answers, so. Well, now we're going to see blue deck versus Shops in the top deck war. Who is better? I'm never playing around double mind break trap, so. All right. Here you go. That was brutal. All right. So I don't have access to her. Oh, they drew a Saga. Saga's so good here. Top deck war, they drew a Saga, and we drew land. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. We kind of need to draw the blue cards in our deck, not the lands. Saga's great here. Saga's very, very good here. I mean, we're looking to draw, you know, POs, Demonics, Ancestrals, those cards. I was F6'd. I mean, Sagas are 50-50 in PO to replace lands. They're only half of them are spells, half of them replace lands, so looks like we'll be fine. I guess if my opponent had taken advantage of my F6 and named the needle there, that could have been awkward, but I should have cracked the fetch to not get needled, but I was F6, so. You don't want to crack the fetch. You have things like Brainstorm. You don't want to get like super wastelanded or anything either, so. So we should be able to beat the Saga here with our Merchant Scroll. Ancestral. Should that fetch have been a UC? Yeah, absolutely. What'd they top deck? Sphere? Wow. I feel like they've top decked the pretty close to the best cards. I don't think it will matter very much. We can't Hercules them, which is worth noting. But they have drawn pretty good stuff here. As long as we're casting spells, though, these constructs don't matter very much. And we do have a bunch of dress downs in our deck still. And once we draw a dress down, the game ends. You're right. I definitely should have fetched a C. I just cruising. Those are bad draws, though. Those are bad draws. I think Merchant for Mystical for dress down is worse than just drawing 3 cards, typically. But, I mean, I could get punished and lose from it, I guess. It's pretty hard to with a top in my hand already, but... Drew a Wasteland. Wasteland's insane here. Punished for my bad fetch. Not punished for my bad fetch. We're gonna be fine. Okay. Every turn we can draw with top in our upkeep and play a top for 2 mana, which will give me one of the blockers I need. Technically, Sphinx doesn't really actually block these constructs that well. See what they top deck here. There are definitely top decks here that annoy me. Strip Mine's kind of annoying. Lost my Black Source again. Just gonna draw with top in my upkeep. Cast Brainstorm. Pretty sure we're just winning here, so. Yo, what's up, JS? We're doing okay. Having a good time. I should have enough stuff to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is fine. I mean, we're just playing much more powerful cards at this point in the game. We're actually clocking our opponent as well with these mentors. Like we chump block twice and we just hit them for 7. Now we can force their next play and then kill them. Maybe I'm actually supposed to keep the vamp. So if we vamp for dress down here. So did I order the vamp on top, chat? I guess we can just. So if I activate top and then I vamp for, I activate top, I draw with top, I replay top, I play my, oh, actually I don't have an under, it's fine. Pretty sure I have exactly lethal with vamp for dress down. Dress down will not remove my creature's power. Actually, I have lethal without dress down. I just have to cast spells. But I do like killing people with dress down, so. Whoops. We're playing a little sloppy now. I have no excuses. Okay, here we go. Let's keep going. A wep. I like a wep. Usually pretty good games. This hand is low power, but has magic cards that I can cast. I typically am okay with keeping this kind of hand with Pio. We have some card draw. We have some protection. Like we draw any powerful spell. We have a Moxen. A Moxen is important. If this Moxen was a land, I'm not sure I would keep it. But the Moxen helps a lot because it enables possible Tinker lines. Okay, we're actually playing against Aggro Shops again. This time that's not a keepable hand. I don't think I would keep that hand. Their hand is Ancient Tomb, Workshop, Ancient Tomb, Strip Mine, Wasteland, Nettle Cyst, Patchwork Automaton. I don't like that hand at all. I would not keep that hand. It might beat me, but I don't like it at all. I think you need to look for something more powerful as the Shops player. I might have to force Nettle Cyst just because I have a very low power hand, but I might not have to because they don't have any Moxen, actually. It's just a 1-1, and then it's a 2-2. I can probably get away with not. Yep, Patchwork is fine. And they drew Shadow Spear. All right, sure. I mean, none of this disrupts me besides their Wastelands, so I think I'm okay with just holding my forces for a sphere and looking for a top is great. This gets Wastelanded, obviously. I don't think it's worth it to hold this Tundra, though. I get to look at 6 cards to try to find the thing I'm looking for. The thing I'm looking for is basically Mana Crypt, I would say. Obviously, Ancestral, stuff like that is good. I think we're still okay with not forcing Nettle Cyst. Takes how much damage? This is going to be a 3/3. It'll be a 3/3. We're actually running out of clock pretty quickly, though. I might have to force the Nettle Cyst. I guess it probably depends on how this spin goes. I do wish this Tundra was a fetch land, because then I'm obviously not exposed to Strip Mine Wasteland. But I don't have any, agency to dictate that. Sometimes you just draw your fetchables. Black Lotus is okay, but we still need, like, a serious action spell. We need Ancestral. We need the ability to PO. We need something like that. And we have a lot of looks for that. Awkward draw mana situation, my opponent says. Okay. Well, I mean, Black Lotus is, at its core an enabler. And if you have nothing good to cast with your Black Lotus, then it's not that good. I don't think I'm allowed to force this, because if my opponent goes like Ancient Tomb Sphere, I really need to force Ancient Tomb Sphere. So I think we just need to look to try to combo on our next turn here, and that's just the end-all be-all. So they are going to go Wasteland. All right. Let's see what we've got. We have a Jet and a Teferi and a Sea. So if I draw the Sea and draw the... I mean, this is not good enough. This is just not good enough. But maybe drawing the Jet is good enough. We just go Jet, Underground Sea. We take 3 this turn and go to 5. Oh, then I get Wastelanded again, though, because it's not a fetch land. No, I draw a Jet, and then I draw the Sea. And then I PO for 3. Yeah, okay, that's probably fine. We're going to have to go for a PO route here, which is fine. Okay, this is fine. I take 3, I go to 15, and then I take, like, another 8 or something. But I'm playing a Jet this turn, and then next turn we draw C, and we PO for a total of 4. With no island, or no, not island, no... I guess we could technically go fetch Yogwill Tundra Probe. That costs me how much life? 3 life? Put me at 12. Let's say they play a single artifact, or 2. Say they play 2 artifacts. 5, 10. I would still need to draw another land or Moxen, but I would get a spin. So I'd look 4 cards for a Moxen. It's kind of an interesting idea. Well, here's the thing, Ido, is POing for 4 is good, but POing for 3 and 4, you still really need a blue Moxen. So you need one of your 3 opals or your sapphire for it to be really strong. And I'm not currently convinced we have the output needed to combo through, because we don't really have another turn. We have like 1 turn. We have a force for a sphere, and we're probably going to get strip mined. So I actually think it's pretty close. Like hitting land drop, hitting land drop off this. We actually can get a fetch as well. We probably wouldn't get a fetch because we want to be able to spin no matter what. But like we can fetch Yogwill, bring back Tundra, and probe, and then spin. And we have 4 looks for another Moxen. You don't think that's worth? I think that's very worth. Because we're not really changing our life total. Yeah, I know Tundra's going to get stripped, but if my opponent is getting stripped, they're only playing 1 spell, and I'm forcing it. So I actually think that's fine. Like we do need this hit off of the 4 draws, a Moxen or another land. But I think that's worth. I could be wrong, but I think I like this. Yeah, we hit a Moxen. It's so good for us. Now I can play a fetch land if I want. Yeah, all right. I mean, I think that was worth it. I didn't hit the blue Moxen, but I have 6 looks for a blue Moxen as well. And I can get the fetch land back in my hand as well. So like I always have a blue land as well. Yeah, I think that was really, really worth it. I like that play a lot. I mean, maybe I like that play because I hit, but it definitely is a lot better when I hit the Moxen off the probe, to be fair. It's like the best possible outcome. My opponent's hand is just all lands. No, I don't think you're wrong in being hesitant about the play. I don't think I wouldn't be mad at anyone for not making the play that I made. I just think it gives you enough value to be worth it. What'd you draw here? Fleet wheel? I'm just gonna force it. Okay, so I take 8, I go to 3, I spin. I'm looking for an opal. A second PO is fine though. I think the answer here is draw the PO and then fetch. Okay, Underground Sea is better. So draw 5, and it costs me 1 blue mana. Looking for an opal, really, is my best. Opal and Sapphire are the best draws here. Letting me PO again. Okay, we didn't hit that. So I think we just PO again. Do we spin first or after at all? We can't whisper. Whispering would be a bad play because I have 2 life. I'm thinking about holding priority, looking with top, and then so maybe I'm gonna activate hold priority, look with top, PO. I kind of think that's what I'm gonna do. I think I'm going to spin. No, I'm gonna draw, spin, PO. What about draw, spin, PO? So if I activate holding priority for a draw, I spin my top, I PO, I draw with my PO, and then I look at 3 cards and choose the best one. Because I think the colorless mana is not necessary, but blue mana is super important. So I am going to... I guess I could just start with Hercules as well. But I don't have a blue mana right now, so that's worse. Okay, so I'm going to do what I originally said. I want to draw with top, spin with top, and then PO. And so I'm going to draw my 5 cards, and then I'm going to see I haven't hit a blue source. I guess technically I've hit a land, right? Land for turn. But now I can spin and find the opal. I don't know if that's the 3rd card down or the top card, but if my opal is the 3rd card down, it's so good for me that I did this. I have no idea how Magic Online actually orders this here, but I think my play was correct. So that makes me happy. I like that play a lot. Okay, so I'm playing against Aggro Shops again. And I'm going to go Swords and Balance and Mindbreak Trap and Sphinx. And I'm going to board out Lavinia on the draw, Flusterstorm, Mental Misstep, Probe, Narset. 1, 2, 8, 10, 12, 15, 18, 22. That's probably fine. Oh, yep, Hercules, you're right. Sorry, I just missed it. Thank you. Keep me on top. The order means the opal was on top. I still think that even if the opal was on top, the play makes the most sense because it gives me three additional looks for an opal instead of just the top card. And at that point, I have so much colorless mana that as long as I can cast my PO, it's fine. This looks good. Let's do this again. Okay. We're doing okay. Things are going better now. Force, turn 2 mentor, non-fetches. It's a little bit of a sus hand, but it's still probably a keep. 7-card force hands against shops are pretty important. I'm not happy with this hand, but I think it's okay. If I draw off-color Moxen, it's nice. Play a mentor on turn 1. No follow-up, but then I'll have a PO for 2. Saga leading. Okay. Saga Pearl. Okay. Yo, thanks, Firestreak. Appreciate that. I think I'm just going to force this. Okay, I'm looking for off-color Moxen. Not Opal. Off-color Moxen is achieved. This obviously plays into Mentor, Mindbreak Trap, but I don't care. Okay, so let's see what my opponent's follow-up is here. If they don't have a follow-up Sphere effect, we have a PO for 2. If they have a follow-up Revoker on Soul Ring, it's kind of annoying. But then they're not making a Saga token, so there's some plus side there. I think in the most general sense, it's almost never correct to play around Mindbreak Trap. Magic is so fast, it's a lodestone. We can actually play through a lodestone, actually, which would be pretty sweet. We have 5 mana, and we can go Mox or Mox Soul Ring. What do we got? Inspector, interesting. Do they have a Sphere follow-up, maybe? Cage, okay. Cage stops Tinker and Sphere. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad. Drew a PO. Don't think it makes much sense to PO right now. Can't get an attack in anyways, so we'll just PO end step. It's a good hand. They have a nice solid hand here. Double Sphere, Saga token, Cage. I assume they're making a Saga token now. No? Interesting. I guess Saga token not great against Mentor, but they do have a Sphere in play. So is this going to get mana and they're going to play something insane? Or is it going to get like... Okay, mana. They have 6 mana here. I guess they could have a Ballista. A Ballista would be pretty crazy. 3 mana. They actually don't have enough mana to play a 3/3 Ballista. They can only play a 2/2 Ballista, which we could then save our Mentor. I'm trying to figure out what their play is here then. Maybe they have 6 mana Golos. No, we saw Patchwork Automaton, so they're probably aggro. They could have 5 mana Fleet Wheel Cruiser, maybe. Maybe they got Mentor, Metamorph. Oh, Karn. That's bad. That's super bad. I can't even force this because 5 mana for PO and then I don't have a mana for Paper Sphere. Yeah, I'm currently not playing a Fragmentize or a Disenchant. But I think that's okay. This is pretty bad, though. Animate the Grafdigger's Cage. We might just be able to kill Karn. We actually can only play 2 spells this turn, though. So they can kill my Mentor and put Karn to 3. And then play an Ensnaring Bridge, maybe. The Sphere is very, very harmful. I think it's better to just play Soul Ring. So they can go block, cage, and Inspector kill my mentor, and Karn takes 3. It's pretty good. If I had 3 Moxen instead of a Soul Ring, then they couldn't do this play, but... So if their follow-up, if they have an Ensnaring Bridge in their Aggro Shops Karn board, that would be pretty good here. If they don't have an Ensnaring Bridge, I think we're fine. Even if they have an Ensnaring Bridge, they would have to play a land and a spell to get underneath monks. So that probably doesn't even work anyways. So hopefully we can just kill this Karn and then PO and win on the spot. I said almost never correct a player on Mindbreak Trap. Let's not twist my words, Mr. Zax. So the only thing I'm really thinking about so far in this league is how I did get a little punished for not having access to Fragmentize. But I played against a couple Aggro Shops matchups, and I've only had 2 Hercles, and it's been okay. I would like to have more Hercles, but I'm just not sure I'm not sure the Aggro Shops meta share is, like, representative enough for it to be worth it. There's going to be so much Bazaar. The Mindbreak Trap's been fine. We haven't actually cast the Mindbreak Trap, but I think the Mindbreak Trap has actually been okay. So far, Nice Whisper has been fine. Dress Down's been good. Hercles has been fine. Been pretty happy with the way this build is currently configured. So my opponent went plus kill a Mox, and then what? And then Lodestone. Wow, okay. So we can lose a monk and kill Karn. This costs 4 mana. Okay, so play a Sapphire, attack all at Karn. This game is still pretty close. We got through a Karn, though, which is pretty nice. So now there's 1 sphere. I think the answer is we PO to hit a land drop. Oh no, PO costs 6. Never mind. What am I saying? Okay. They have 2 cards after they draw. I think I want to hold the Dress Down in case they hit Revoker, because I'd like to Dress Down in response to Revoker so that they don't get to Needle my Soul Ring, or I guess they wouldn't Needle my Soul Ring because they have a Soul Ring, but like Needle my oh, Dress Down, you are the most beautiful of creatures. God, Dress Down's a beautiful Magic card. And I drew Hercles, and this Metamorph just dies. Oh. 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 That is a massive dagger. I love Dress Down. Dress Down has got to be my favorite card printed in the last X years. I don't know how many X years is, but I love Dress Down so much. Okay. Currently costs me 4 mana Hercles, so I won't be able to Hercles and then PO. So I think the answer is... what about now? So if I do this, and then I have 4 mana Hercles, I'm 1 mana short. So the answer here is just end of turn Hercles them and then kill them. I guess I could attack here, and then if they block, just PO. Well, yeah, we've certainly turned around our luck in the back half of this. Did we have enough with Hercling first? Oh yeah, we were 1 mana short. You were right. You were right. If Dress Down wasn't blue, I don't think it would be as good. Might be better in Modern where you can like pitch to Solitude or something, but you're right on whatever. We were 1 mana short, but if we had Hercules first after drawing Mana Vault, that would have worked. I'm just thinking about like attacking and then POing to get kind of think it works here. I don't know if it's better than just Herculing end of turn. It's probably not. It's probably just better to Hercules end of turn and kill them. It's like impossible for them to get me off Hercules at this point. Well, that's not true. I guess if they have Wasteland, I have to use my Mana Vault, but it shouldn't matter. Right, we know they have a cage. Wait, do we know they have a cage? No, that's the second cage. Okay, so this game is over. End of turn, Hercules my opponent, untap, and PO. Okay, that's exactly how an Aggro Shops matchup should go. Oh, sure, why not? And lethal. Okay, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad, not bad. Okay. All right, here we go. 5th and final round of this vintage league. It's going pretty well. We're up against green. They are typically a PO or Esper Saga player, so this should be pretty interesting. I don't have like the strongest hand, but I definitely have a turn 1 Tinker hand, so even if it is even if there are some downsides to this hand, I think you always keep your ability to turn 1 Tinker and make your opponent have it. Mana Vaults, okay. That kind of signifies PO. Mystic Forge. Interesting. Okay, so maybe shops or maybe jewel shops. All right, well, that means they're much less likely to have turn 1 Force of Will here. So we're going to do the going for it. My opponent's deck has Force of Wills in it, but they only have like 18 blue cards, so it's it's actually much more unlikely that they have a Force plus blue card. So we're gonna tinker off of one of our opals and hope it works. We also need a hit, to be fair. They do have Force blue card. Okay, they had 2 Force of Wills. They actually exiled a Mightstone to this, so I should know for sure they're on Jewel. But okay. So my opponent had the Force blue card and the turn 1 Mystic Forge. Let's see what they follow up with. We still have a Demonic Tutor, so there are some pretty powerful plays we have in our future. Something like any Moxen, I think, lets us go Demonic. Well, if we hit like a Black Lotus, we could do like Demonic Yogwill Tinker. Let's see. My opponent has a key. Okay. My opponent has a Mana Crypt. Okay. I mean, Mystic Forge is a pretty broken card. We'll see what happens. Though they are unlikely to have another piece of counter magic. But I don't know if we're going to be fast enough. We'll have to see. So untapping Mana Vault. Uh-oh, that's not a good sign. Did they find a Mightstone on the top? Or are they just done for the turn, maybe? No, they found something. Oh, they have 4 mana? I thought they had 5 mana. Yeah, they have 5 mana. So Mightstone, I assume? Oh, Metamorph. Sure. Metamorph as... What are they going to Metamorph as here? Key? Forge? Mana Vault? Second Forge. Okay. Saga gone. All right. All right, so it's our turn again, but I am so far behind in this game. A Black Lotus probably wins, but a Black Lotus or a Yogwill wins. Opal number 3. Okay. Let's Demonic, and let's get... If I had these opals turned on, I could go for a Lavinia here, and my opponent would just freaking lose so badly. Lavinia here is just a knockout blow, and I would love to do it if this was like if this was an off-color Moxen to turn on my Moxen, then I could go fetch land Lavinia. It was super easy. Do we get another turn? I would think the answer to that question is definitely no. So I am currently here debating between, like, if we thought we were gonna get another turn, we could go Yogwill, and then we could Yogwill Tinker. But I'm thinking the answer here is probably we should cast Ancestral. If this Moxen was turned on, we could even get Narset. Narset's pretty reasonable here. But nothing is turned on, unfortunately. So I think the answer is just Ancestral and hope for some goodies. I think that's my desperation play. It's kind of unfortunate, but it is what it is. There's some good draws here. Any Moxen gives us blue mana again, so we could do something like Time Walk or maybe even PO. So there's some good draws. That's a pretty good draw. Now we have a force for their next turn and a spin for our turn after. Yeah, okay. I don't know if one force is enough with the amount of looks they have on Forge, but they're currently, not the most mana. They're at 10 life, so we have like a Lethal Citadel activation. But they are going to get a Saga to go off, and they can get a Black Lotus off of the Saga, so that's something to consider as well. I do think like Force Blue card is one of our best Ancestral hits there, especially Force Blue card Artifact giving us access to Mox Opal. So I'm not upset. I think our Ancestral hit exactly not exactly, but like pretty close to one of our best Ancestral hits. This might buy us a turn, and then we have a spin off of top. So here is 7 mana for a Coveted Jewel. They can't have Force backup. They could have Pact of Negation backup, obviously. But now they're pretty low on mana. What did they get? They got a Soul Ring? That makes sense. So they have 2 Mystic Forge activations to try to go off here if they want. They are getting low on life total, though, so they have to be cognizant of that. They exiled a Trinisphere. Okay. They exiled a Mishra's Workshop. Okay. And then are you stuck? They are stuck. Okay. So we're going to go to end step and spin our top, and we're looking for a PO or a Bolus's Citadel. Black mana. Yeah, that works. Bolus's Citadel and a Time Walk. They break pretty hard, but they also don't have like a ton of mana. They're not the best Mystic Forge deck for what it's worth. I mean, Ancestral is only as good as the card you draw, right? Trick is playing a good deck, I think. All right, so this is deterministic, so I think we win this game. Maybe not deterministic, but pretty damn close. I mean, if you're playing a good deck, you're gonna have good cards, though, right? So, oh, I should have played that, so I could have time walked again. It's fine. Sure, I will Hercules them. Could be fun. I want to get a Lavinia in play. That'd be fun. I still have a time walk turn here, so I also have to PO back my Mana Crypt. Oh, I don't have a PO. I guess I can Mystical for a PO. Whoops. I was not looking. Things are fine. That was a little bit autopilot and not the best play we could have made, but I think one mudslide is enough mudslide. I think that's what I've determined here. All right, well, we are now deterministic because we're drawing through our whole deck with a Time Walk turn. All we need to do is activate a Bolas's Citadel. But, it's fine. Ooh, that was really close to being a huge mistake. Don't do what I do or what I say. Wait, then that doesn't help at all. That's completely useless. Okay, so I took out a lot of the cards that are good in this matchup, unfortunately. All we have really is this Mindbreak Trap. We could theoretically also play this Hercules if we want. But I also took out the cards that are bad in this matchup, like Swords and Balance and stuff. Island's not good. And that's it. So I'm going to just leave one Hercules in, and I'm going to bring an Island out for a Mindbreak Trap. So for anyone wondering why I'm taking a land out of my deck, the reason is because the PO deck functions as a 12 land deck. The reason you play more than 12 lands is because of, well, the opponents we played against tonight. We're playing against Aggro Shops, who has Sphere of Resistance and Wasteland. So you want to play more lands than you need to function because a bunch of viable strategies in the format are restricting you on mana. So even though PO is a 12 land deck, you can play 13. Sometimes you play 14 lands depending on the metagame. And then if you play a deck that is not going to wasteland you, you can actually take out one of your basics like that. So 12 lands, bring in the Mindbreak Trap, and we get to play game 2 here on the draw versus Jewel Shops. I think we got a little lucky in that game because my opponent didn't really hit off of their Mystic Forge the way they possibly could have. If they hit a bunch of Moxen off of their Mystic Forges, they probably would have just destroyed us. But, you know, it's about 50-50 in the Jewel Shops deck, whether Mystic Forge is a playable card or not. And even if it's a playable card, there's a lot of high mana cost cards. So I think it's actually almost exactly 50-50. I think there are 30 non-artifact permanents and 30 non-artifact cards and 30 artifact cards. My opponent mulliganed to 6. We have a Force and a Mindbreak Trap. I like this hand a lot. Yep, we're going to play a turn 1 Jewel. Awesome. It's a nice hand for my opponent. 6 mana Jewel, and I have the Mindbreak Trap. Cash in the value. Go to my next turn. Another Force, definitely okay with that. And then top. It's a high value Mindbreak Trap. All right, my opponent still has 3 cards left after they draw. Could have more jewels. See what happens. Ancient Tomb, tap 4 for Karn. Right, we're going to force that. I'm going to pitch the Teferi. I don't think the Teferi is necessary here, and I would rather have another Force in case they have, I don't know, something else to follow up here. Top. Ooh, baby, that is an interesting... That is a very, very interesting... Let's take a spin first. Do I think I'm better in the top deck war? Ooh, a Narset that I can't cast. This is interesting. This is super, super interesting. If I force here, they are on top. No, I actually think Narset is a card I want to cast. Narset is very good against my opponent's game plan of drawing cards. I think I'm gonna force their Sensei's top, and I'm gonna draw Ruby and look to play a Narset and hope they don't top deck before I do. So they're on complete top deck mode here, which is good. The drink was great, and it's gone. It was just a normal mudslide with some chocolate in it, and it was nice. Just vodka, Kahlua, Bailey's, ice. Oh, these are not the cards I wanted to see. These are not the cards I wanted to see. I was hoping for mana. I mean, these are powerful cards. These are the exact cards I want, but think the answer is just draw PO next turn and... No, maybe the answer is draw Narset next turn and then hope to spin into a Narset. I mean, currently we can't play Narset, but we're just looking for opals and lands before my opponent top decks things that matter. My opponent's top decks are like... They have so few action cards in their deck. I absolutely think that this play makes the most sense to just take them off of top, and we have our own top, and we try to beat them that way. I think we're favored here. I would say we were favored. I mean, I wouldn't make the play if I didn't think we were favored. Does it make sense to use a time walk? Is that buy? I mean, that just cantrips, right? So it's probably worth. I don't really like Mystical for Ancestral because of how long it takes. I guess this doesn't actually help us. All right, well, I found a Force of Will. So I could keep not Force of Will on top, and I could keep Mystical, and I could draw with my top, and I could Mystical for Ancestral. I just don't... I'm not a huge fan of that play. I think I'm just going to leave Force on top and continue with the current train. Force on top is great. Force on top is totally fine. Yeah, you have a good idea. Like, clearing top is definitely something that we're interested in right now. But I just don't think that it's worth it. We do have the Crypt Clock as well. Sure. All right, so we drew a Force. So now we have protection against the top deck. So we're in a good spot. There's a Git Probe coming. So now I think you might be right. Now I think we could go Mystical, lose our top, cast Ancestral, because we have Force still. I don't know. We're so close to this PO, right? It's really hard to say. I'm not 100% on, like, which is better here. Because, like, a PO here is game winning. And Narset is probably game winning. I think I'm just going to draw Probe PO. And we'll go from there. Like, PO and Narset, I think, are both, like, super good here. Saga's a bane of Narset, though. So now we're looking to PO instead. I still think we're supposed to be going for PO here. We have a perfect, not a perfect PO because we don't have an opal or anything, but we have a great PO board. So probe. We still can play an Narset, so I think we're still taking life here, though. Drawing probe, spinning, because if we hit like a blue Moxen, we can just play our Narset. I drew the Misty. Okay. So do I want to get rid of the top so that I can have... Yeah, I mean, this is definitely worth it getting rid of the top for a Narset, because the Narset's going to give me 2 activations here. And yeah, and then it's also still a permanent gets picked up with PO. I guess if I don't take a blue card off of this Narset, then I might have to pitch my PO. Okay. This is kind of interesting. Wow, that's really hard to choose. I think all of these are reasonable choices. What am I supposed to pick with these? I'm pretty sure I'm supposed to pick a non-Force of Will card. I guess Demonic makes the most sense. Demonic covers the most corner cases. Like if they top deck, I guess I'm covered on Jewel. I think DT covers the most corner cases. So DT, it can be a Sapphire or an Opal or a Crypt or something like that. PO's going okay tonight. It started off kind of badly, but we've done the rallying. Knight's Whisper. All right, so first I'm going to activate Narset, look for a Moxen. Found a Soul Ring. A Soul Ring. So what I don't have is if they have exactly Force blue card. I don't have any recourse if they have exactly Force blue card, huh? Should I not have taken Soul Ring? If they have Force blue card and then they play a Saga token, it's probably still fine for me, right? I don't even know if I want to get a Sapphire here. I was hoping to get a Sapphire, but then I still lose my blue. Yeah, it's probably fine. I guess, yeah, if they have Force blue card, they might force DT. I kind of think they wouldn't force DT, though. I could... Oh, wait, what if I just go Tinker? I'm so bad. Tinker's got to be better here with a land drop to give and force up. That's got to be better. I guess it's like some risk against Saga, but it took me a really long time to find that. I don't know why. Immediate Yogwill. Yeah, that's insane. Ruby, probe through the land drop. Their hand is Coveted Jewel, Emerald. How did we know Emerald existed? Whatever. Coveted Jewel, Emerald, and then we can Demonic, maybe, or we can just Time Walk. Depends on the fetches here. Okay, let's just Time Walk then. All we need is one Citadel activation, so should be pretty straightforward. Play Academy. Play PO for 4. Yep, that's game. All right, so not a bad day. All right. So now we just need to make our way up to 10 permanents and activate Bolus's Citadel for lethal. Sure, I'll put a PO on top. Why not? Is that 10? Oh. Is this 10? All right, they're done. Okay. That was actually a great league. We did lose round 1. And I think the thing that we learned from round 1 is maybe I do want the fragmentize, but overall we vanquished. What did we vanquish? We vanquished a Jewel Shops, which is important. We vanquished 2 Aggro Shops players, which is... Aggro Shops had a great weekend last weekend, but I'm not sure how much it will show up in the showcase. We vanquished an Esper Saga player, which is a key matchup, and then we lost a close one to Mono White, which will be a big matchup. Not bad. Not a bad night at all. This made me, I don't know, this night made me really happy. I feel like even regardless of winning and losing, I feel like we played pretty well. We made some good plays. There were obviously some fumbles here and there, but a lot of it was, you know, a lot of it was mudslide life. I like the current build we've got set up here. I think the answer, like the only thing I'm interested in is maybe a fragmentize. Maybe the answer is like not 2 tabernacles or not 2 2 pithing needles, and maybe we get a fragmentize in there. I don't really want to cut any more of these swords or these balances, and I think going any less than 2 Hercules is tempting fate. And I think the Mindbreak Trap definitely showed its worth in this set. So I would think the second Tabernacle maybe, and then get the Fragmentize back in the deck, and we play like that. And that is something that I'm interested in doing. So it was a fun league. Hopefully you enjoy this, and hopefully everyone who hung out tonight had a good time as well. More vintage content coming on this YouTube channel every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern. I will see you then.